Okay, here we go. We are on. We are live, and the topic will be generalizations and how we use them in breakups and relationships. Do you believe people overgeneralize about what happened after a breakup? And if anyone else is out there that's been in a breakup before, what I mean by generalizations is people tend to say, this is how all women are, this is how all men are, and they group it in. And then what they do is they take it a step further, and then they find people to back up that generalization. And they go, well, this is what happened to my mom, this is what happened to one of my best friends. Why do women always do this? And what I see a lot of times is that people will actually make a statement that something happened and this is how it always happens. And this is what all women do. This is what all men do. Or why do women always do this? So I'll give you an example. Oh, we got one on deck here. So I'll give you an example of generalizations. Someone will say, how can they just do that? How can they just do that? Someone leaves the relationships, they break up, they're in no contact for 3 weeks. They're sitting there waiting, wishing, hoping, trying to get their ex back or hear back from their ex, and they're thinking, what the hell is going on here? When are they going to call me? How can someone just stop caring about you? How do women just stop caring about you? This is not the situation. The situation is your individual story of what happened. So in your story of what happened, there's some nuances, there's some details missing. And those details are the difference. The idea that this always happens makes you more comfortable, makes you feel better about the situation. And you think to yourself, well, this is just what always happens. It's really shitty. And then it goes into the next relationship and you're thinking, yeah, well, this is how women are. And some ideas of generalizations are cheating. If someone's been cheated on before, sometimes they say, oh, all women cheat. Now, it also could be a projection of you believing that's what all people do. If someone says, well, all people do this, they're usually talking about their own values. They're talking about what they do. And in some ways, they're making it a situation where they're validating their own behavior. So the idea that someone says, well, everyone does this. How you doing, bud? Tasmania, how are you? Good, Dylan. Good to see you, bud. So today we're talking about BG's always on deck. I wish I had BG's always on deck. Dropping to give a thumbs up right there. Thanks, BG. Anyways, generalizations today is what the topic's going to be, and I'm going to go into this a little bit deeper as I am. And if you have some situations where you've actually Nav34D, hey Mac, great to hear from you. I saw your reply to my comment. If I send a paid email, how quickly will you get it done for a video? As soon as possible. I have yours on deck, and yeah, if you want to drop $25, it'll get back to you within 48 hours. That's quick enough for you, and probably within 24. So someone just dropped out on that. So generalizations. Hope that answered your question, Nav34D. And your Nav34D, your situation is deep, buddy. So you definitely want to get some reply on that. You Nav34D, you might want to do a live coaching session. You got a lot of stuff to unpack there. And remember, in a live coaching session, I give a full refund if you don't find it helpful or useful. So getting back to this topic of generalizations and how we use them in breakups and relationships, do you believe people overgeneralize about what happened in a breakup? Any of you guys have any take on this? Really want to talk to you, Coach, but I think I'm okay now and truthfully think I know what you're going to say anyways. No problem, bud. Well, thanks for contributing to the live streams. And that's your prerogative. All good in the hood. So, but Is there any kind of general? I got 3 people here. Is there any kind of generalizations that you guys feel is true out there for breakups you've had, or generalizations? Generalization really is stereotyping the situation, right? This is how they all do it, or this is how they all been, and it's extremely limited when you're moving forward. Because if you believe that your last breakup is going to happen over again, and this is just what people do, you're going to be using what they call cognitive bias to make it correct. You're gonna keep searching for those things. If you've been cheated on and left, you're gonna be jealous and insecure and be checking their phone all the time. So I think that when we get into these generalizations, they made me respell it a different spelling, actually, BG, generalization. It's mostly the guy's fault. They leave us, it's because we got lazy and found attention somewhere else, and blames you for, it's mostly the guy's fault. That's a generalization right there, to say that it's mostly the guy's fault. They leave us. Again, whenever you use the word they, as in all women or all men, it's a generalization. It's because we got lazy and found attention somewhere else, and blames you for it. Well, that's a whole other case. When you have a breakup, I've been in this situation on both ends, but when someone's at the door, so to speak, like they got one foot out the door, but they still care about you. All right, NAV34D, I'll do the coaching session with you, mate. All right, your call, bud. Guarantee it. So send it in, send me an email, writemac.com, Coach Mac McCarthy @gmail. Getting back into this, BG, they leave us, it's because we got lazy and found attention somewhere else. The other thing that can happen too is that someone can literally make you the bad guy and help you build a case against yourself, and then that gives them an easy out. So if someone's at the door and you haven't really done something bad or wrong, sometimes they create a situation where you keep digging your own breakup grave, and they keep manipulating the situation into making you the bad guy. But this topic of generalizations, it's really important. That's what she exactly did to me. Seen it before, man. But the important thing for you to do now is realize that was an individual case. That was an individual relationship. That doesn't mean that every woman does that. This is the danger. This is very important. And I don't know, the reason I came up with this topic is that someone had asked me, move my chair forward here. Someone had asked me, what's one of the biggest mistakes or things that come up in relationships or breakups? And it was during one of these live streams, and I'm like thinking to myself, well, I don't know. There's a lot of different things. This is it, is people generalize, they make a blanket statement, and it really hurts them moving forward into a new relationship. Because what they're thinking is they're like, oh shit, this is what happens all the time. And I've been there. I was in a breakup before, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, women always leave when you're at their worst times. This is what they always do. And then you find someone that agrees with you, or you look for other situations, or you watch a movie, or you listen to a song, and you make it more true, and you make it more true. And it's just not the case. Every breakup, every situation, every relationship is individually wrapped and based. And so when you get into these things, it's not the case. And you have to draw yourself back, BG, and you got to go, all right, this was one situation. This is what she did. She built her case, really break it down, take what you want from it, break down what happened in the relationship, and then go, all right, where was I wrong? Where was I right? And where do I need to improve as an individual? Not for her, not for our relationship, not to get her back, because I want to be a better person. Jessica Marie, what's up? What's going on? We got a live coaching scheduled tomorrow. Belgium's finest, huh? So, yeah, this one you hit, right? Because this particular time actually doesn't get as many people. I've only got 4 on deck. I've been on 10 minutes. But Jessica, we have a topic at the top here if you want to jump in on this in generalizations. and how they work in breakups. And if you have anything to say in regards to that, just woke up. Okay, cheers. All right. I think you guys are in Belgium. I just know this from calculating the live coaching. You're 5 hours ahead. So welcome to the chat. Anyone else have some other topics that we want to talk about here? Like I said, we're 10 minutes in. We got 3 people going. So I'm just going to keep this in mind for the future, that this time slot isn't favorable for a lot of people right now. We're going to have to switch it over probably to a few hours later. And actually what I might do, no offense to the people that came out for this one, if this doesn't grab a few more people in the coming minutes, I might change this to maybe 3 hours from now. Might be better for everyone else out there. So any questions during this live stream? Anything in regards to generalizations and breakups in relationships? Is that something that resonates with the 3 people that are on deck right now? Or is it something that you think, I don't know, it's overstated? Because in my opinion, it happens all the time. It's 10:42 a.m. in the UK. Maybe you should go live slightly later on for more interaction. Oh no, I've been on different time frames. That's so general. What's so general? I've been on different time frames for the last week, and I'm trying different things out. But thanks for the suggestion. I think that actually you're right. Slightly later has been better, but being that this channel is pretty international, and what I mean by that, I get people from all over the world. I'm not sure what's perfect, and there's certain people that just miss them for other things. But thanks for that, Nav. I appreciate it, bud. That's so general. What's so general, Jessica? Jessica Marie? Yeah, last time when I started at 8:30, I had up to 18, 19 people going, and that was nice. That went really nice. That went really, really well. Nav, I did take a look at your full story today, though. Well, I'm trying to catch up, but we are talking generalizations such as all guys are liars. Exactly, hon. So what I mean by that is, yeah, all guys are liars. That's a great one because that's commonly used. And what the danger in that is, once you start saying that, you start believing it, and you start making it true, and you start filtering for meeting those kinds of guys, because when someone's honest, you drive those people away because you start accusing them of lying. Men are trash. That's so annoying. Well, if someone says men are trash, that's a generalization. And like I said, this is very similar to, like, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but stereotyping or racism, those are all generalizations too, based on past experiences where you believe that that's true about everything. Now we're cooking here. How about I'll never find someone I'll connect with so well? Yeah, that could be a generalization too, and that's a highly dramatic one that's not self-serving. And that's what my point is you get into these mottos or generalizations and you fucking live by them. You know what I mean? You're like, well, I'll never find someone like that again. Highly dramatic in a world of 7 billion people and 3 billion of the opposite sex, whatever the number is of people. But when you say that, you put it in your subconscious, you make it true. And your subconscious basically goes, yeah, okay, let's make sure that comes true. How about once a cheater, always a repeater, coach? What do you think about that? Yes, that's common too. And if someone goes around and does that, I mean, can someone say, yeah, I've cheated in past relationships, but currently I'm married and I would never do that with my wife? Absolutely. Can someone cheat, make a mistake, and do it once in a relationship? Absolutely. So when someone adopts these generalizations, what they do is they adopt a mindset, they adopt a motto, they adopt a way to be in their next relationship. Like, basically, I emotionally cheated, but I know I'm not a cheater. Emotionally cheated? If you use it as a lesson, then you'll become such a better person. I feel that's the case. Yeah. Okay, so that's my point. Whatever happens in your relationship, treat it as an individual situation. Don't attach some kind of general comment that blankets everyone else involved. This happens all the time. All the time. And I see it in stories. I see it when I talk to people. And then when you unpack it in a way where I'm not saying that you're wrong, that someone cheated on you, or that some men are trash, or whatever you want to, what were some of the other ones? I'll never find someone I'll connect with so well. I mean, these things are individual situations where you're making these statements, and then you're going to make them true. And you're right, each individual situation is a learning opportunity. And sometimes what's really interesting about that is what's really interesting about the learning opportunity in relationships at the time of the breakup, the first 3 months, 4 months, the coals are smoldering, you're upset, you're uptight, you're angry. You're not ready to treat this as a lesson and just, put it in your back pocket for later. You're pissed off. But like a year goes by, 2 years, you're in a new situation, you've healed up, and then it'll float up and you'll be like, oh shit, I've been in this situation before. How do I want to treat this? But if you go into the situation, like if you go into the next relationship and you have these ideas of what every one of the opposite sex does, it's going to hurt you. And then you're just going to keep attracting that situation over and over again. And you've met people like this in your life that are individuals that basically go, oh, why do I always attract losers? Why do I always attract men that take money from me and use me? Well, you're not necessarily attracting that. You're searching that out to make your, how should I say, premonition true, or your, how about age generalizations? Like, he's younger than me, he still needs to mature. We often think maturity is age related, right? Absolutely. I've met plenty of people that are highly mature. And maturity is in different fields, right? Someone could be highly mature with their job, highly mature around a certain core of people. And other times become little kids. So with you happened to me in the past through, I wouldn't exactly cheat. I was forward coming when I told my ex I wanted to break up. Had I not emotionally cheated, I feel I would be complacent. What does emotionally cheating mean? It means it wasn't physical. I just want you to clarify emotionally cheating. I feel I wouldn't be complacent. I mean, I've had some people say that they've had unpure thoughts and they've treated that as cheating. If that's what you mean, that's being human. If you're with someone and you're attracted to someone else, or you're flirting, or you maybe lust after that person but you don't do something, don't be too hard on yourself, because you can't control those images that come into your head. See? I've been doing this for a little while and I'm pretty seasoned. I've worked at a lot of different places, Jessica. But it is true, right? I mean, you can be really mature in different fields, and then someone can really surprise you. I mean, I've been around people, that are really mature, and you put them in a situation where they're drinking, or you have a pool party, and you're like, wow, you're acting like a little kid. This is weird. You know what I mean? So, and what's your definition of maturity and not maturity, right? And the thing about being cheated, though, I believe people can change, is that it's no guarantee that they won't do it again with you. Maybe in the next partner, perhaps. Oh, absolutely. I mean, once someone does an action, it's more likely to happen again. But it's up to you to give them the benefit of the doubt. There's a story I just did. I haven't released it because there's some people, I'm actually losing subscribers because they prefer the format of me telling a story and giving my take than the live streams, because these are the people that get the most benefit from a live stream is the interactive ones. You were imagining someone else, coach, emotionally. See, to me, emotionally cheating, I think that's human. I think that when you're in a relationship, you're going to come across times when you're emotionally imagining someone. I can't, feeling guilt for that, I can't relate. Is anyone emotionally cheating? Does anyone agree with that being something to be hard on yourself? Just finished reading Games People Play, but Dr. E. Byrne. It seems to me that majority of people find their partners based on a role in a game. Games, victim, savior, cheater, dependency are general. Okay. Games People Pay by Dr. E. Byrne. Thanks for that, Isadora Jovic. I'll make a note of that. I'll check that book out. That's why I booked a live coaching session with you. Thanks, Jessica. I think you'll be satisfied with it. Haven't had a bad one yet. Emotionally cheating, feelings for an ex when with someone, but regretting it when emotionally cheating, feelings for an ex when with someone, but regretting it. Just my own personal case. I respect that for you that's guilt, but I would say that as a human being, that how many thoughts we have run through our head in a day. The fact that you are thinking about someone else while you are with someone, for me, give yourself a break, man. In my viewpoint, okay, because it's like if I have a girlfriend and I'm with her, I don't know what's going through her mind, but if she's thinking about some guy she works with from time to time in an intimate way, I think that's very human. For her to act that out is different, right? If everyone could read every thought that we had going through our head, that would be amazing, right? It'd be like, wow. Someone asked me in another live stream, they said, hey, how can I control the thoughts coming over and over again about the breakup? You can't really control them. What you can do is reframe them and change the way you react. But of course, Coach, you'll know my story more accurately in the email. Yeah, no problem. And when I ask you these questions, what I like to do is I want to know your definition of emotionally cheating, because this is the thing about breakups and relationships, and this is the thing about having something like this is an international human thing. This isn't something that's boxed in, right? So when I ask you about something like emotional cheating, someone else will have a different definition of it, and someone else will have a different rule to it. And that's just fine. But for me to understand where you're coming from, I need to know your definition. I need to know where you're coming from. And it's not necessarily that I'm going to disagree, but it's going to put me in a position to help you out more, to see where you're coming from and where your values are. Agreed, NAV34D. Thanks, BG, for helping everyone out here. Isadora Jovic, you're new to the game here. I don't think I've seen you before on the live chat, but I am going to make a note of that book for sure. A married friend of mine fell in love with someone online, and even though they haven't met and done anything, her husband considered it cheating. Interesting, Jessica Marie H. That's an interesting thing to talk about. That comes down to morals and values, right? Because you're her friend, a married friend of mine, fell in love with someone online. Okay. I know your particular situation is an online thing too. I mean, when you fall in love with someone online, and I'm just going off what you're telling me, does that mean they've met, had physical interaction, or does that mean that they fell in love without meeting yet, even though they haven't met and done anything? So in my definition, I'm just telling the story neutrally. My story is totally different. I know it is. I've looked at it. Good word too, neutrally. If they haven't met or done anything, I can't see that being a form of, I don't want to say real love, but you're not at a stage where you can judge if the relationship's going to go or not going to go, because there's still something about human presence that can't be beat by online. If we're in each other's presence and energy, and we haven't done that yet, we haven't hooked up, we haven't kissed, we haven't interacted and had dinner together, you're vetting a lot on interaction online. And her husband considered it cheating. Well, her husband has a right to consider it cheating if that's something that what he's going to do is he's going to say, I would never do that to you. So when people do that, when they go, oh, I would never do that to you, that's when for them, it gets really serious, because they're saying, in my case, it's completely unacceptable. I would not do that to you. And some people would say, whatever you're telling them at that point, they don't trust you. A trust barrier has been lost. And who knows what was said by your married friend or what the husband found out. So let's say the husband found the text and they were saying intimate quotes and this and that. At that point, what is true? He's not going to believe her and what she says. So at that point, he needs to figure out if he's going to forgive her, if he's going to believe her, if he's going to move on. And if she really thinks she's falling in love, then she needs to explore that, be honest with her husband, and move forward. And if she cares about her husband in any way, she should be telling him up front, I've been talking to someone else. They haven't met, they just talked a lot online and developed feelings for each other. Well, if there were stages to being in love, I think they're at stage 1. For her to leave her husband, and I don't know her, it must be a really bad relationship with her husband to fall in love with someone online and not face to face. I know things are changing right now in the world, but I never sick of your videos, Mac. After the help you gave me, I'm fully over my ex and have other girls on my mind. I nearly had 2 new girlfriends, just friends, fight over me physically because they love me. Well, good for you. Good for you, Dylan. I'm really new to the game. I'm listening from Berlin. Oh, right on, Germany. Okay, cool. Can you explain the rules briefly? What game? What rules to what? To chat? To talking on this chat? Or, I'm sorry. She had to, this particular chat, if you want to scroll up to the top, we started talking about generalizations in relationships and breakups. But at this point, you can shoot from the hip and ask me questions about relationships and breakups and bring up different topics as we can see where it goes. Do we stick to the topic? Well, obviously, most people don't. And I'm okay with that. I like to start with a topic, Isadora. And then if you think you want to talk about that topic, it's fine. But if you want to go and ask a few different random questions and stuff pertaining to breakups or relationships, that's just fine. And we just have 7 people in this meetup right now. So if you have a particular question, I can get to it. Two-way street and people have to meet each other halfway. That's what I see all the time. So someone's going, well, I did this, this, and this. And I'm like, well, she didn't meet you halfway. If they're not willing to meet you halfway and they just want to keep telling you what you did wrong, and usually trust is lost on a specific moment or something you did that shocked the other person. And if they can't get over that, you know, if someone walks in on their girlfriend or their boyfriend making out with someone just sent me a story about that, and they have that visual image in person, they're not going to be able to just go, yeah, let's just rebuild trust right away, because that image is going to be coming back again and again, and they're going to constantly think about it. I think trust is hard to be rebuilt, and it depends on the individual. If the individual is forgiving, if they believe the other side's sincerely sorry, if they're not stubborn, there's all kinds of factors that go into it. So it's a broad question. It's actually a general question. And again, it would be NAV 34D. It would be based on the individual's story, and then the 2 individuals that are in the relationship and how they act and what their values are moving forward. Do we stick to this topic? I answered that. You can ask other questions, Isadora. I believe it can, but it will take time, and forgiveness is key. Forgiving, not dwelling in the past mistakes. Easier said than done, right? I see it repeatedly. Guys will get back with their breakups, especially guys. And if they go, the first thing that they'll do in a lot of cases, especially people in their 20s, they'll go, yeah, we broke up and it's been a month, or, you know, it's been this long. And sorry, Isadora, I'll get to you in a minute. They'll go, we broke up 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the road. They hook up, they go out, they have this incredible time. They sleep together, they're back on deck, everything's good. And the guy goes, have you hooked up with anyone since we've been broken up? And the girl goes, why are you asking me that? Just tell me. And then she goes, well, yeah, I hooked up with some guy from work or this or that. And then the guy just goes into, I can't believe you did that, She feels guilty, Now they really can't rebuild any kind of trust or relationship, because this guy's holding her accountable for what happened in between that gray area when they were broken up. And he's got a visual on some guy she worked with, right? Some guy that she worked with. And he's thinking now that you kind of cheated on me, but she didn't. So this goes into a whole different things. Isadora, you wrote, what do you think about feeling guilty after breaking a very long codependent relationship? Feels like jumping off a sinking ship and leaving the other person behind. Codependent relationship. I mean, have you said your story in Isadora to me before? Because that would be something I would need to know the full story and how you were codependent and why. But based on the question you're asking, do you want to stay on a sinking ship or not? Mm-hmm. At some point, if the relationship leaving the other person behind, that's the toughest part of being a codependent in some situation. I'm thinking that you're talking about some sort of addiction. That's very difficult. But at some point, if you want to be your best and move forward with your own life, you got to take the bull by the horns and be true to yourself. And if the ship's sinking for them, they have to realize themselves and jump ship also. Regarding trust, my take on it is if you do something to make up for it so the person can trust you again, you show them you're trying at least, maybe. I went through that too, Isadora, and I'm so glad I jumped ship. Well, thanks for helping her, Jessica Marie. Yeah, that's difficult, but you're going to end up being the one that goes down on the ship with them. And when you're in a codependent relationship, someone, as long as they're getting to do what they want and someone's at a pattern base, they're not going to improve until someone leaves them alone. And you keep thinking like, parents do this. I see this a lot with parents. Parents go, let's say they have someone. Wow, I've seen this with some of my mother's friends and stuff where there's, a kid living at home till he's in his late 20s, early 30s. He's got a strong addiction and they just don't want to put him out in the street because they're scared of what'll happen. I don't blame them as parents. But at the same time, what are they going to learn? You know what I mean? What are they going to learn? This is the thing, is like, there's a reason your dogs and your cats are so attached to you, because they know where they're going to get fed every day, right? They know that they can depend on you all the time. That's why they don't leave the house. T-Rose is on deck. What's up, Mac? Love the live streams. I'm feeling a little ticked off. I'll be emailing you later today. Okay, Tyler. You got the open line, my friend. Exactly. This is the time for the one you think. Exactly. This is the time for the one you think you're leaving behind to get up and work on their codependency. Yeah. Thing is, people that are in relations like that, they got to sink or swim too. I mean, there's a video I've done, and I don't know if some of you seen it or not seen it, but I was in a time where I was working somewhere and I was talking to this guy, and he was older. So I used to be in real estate, and I was like, I don't know what's wrong. I said, I feel really good about things. I got a girlfriend. I got a nice car. I'm making okay, but something's not right. I was telling him, I don't know why I was divulging this to him. And he goes, Mac, I'll tell you a story. And he said it was a biblical story or something like that. So this story's probably been told before. And he said, someone's in a boat, right? And the village is flooding. And maybe you guys have heard this story before. The village is flooding. It's the first time I heard it. The village is flooding. Everyone's getting on the boat, and they're getting out of the village, right? Because if you don't get a boat and get out of the village, you're going to get flooded and you're going to probably die. So this one guy is standing on his roof, or in some cases maybe like a sub-mountain, and he's going, people are coming up and they're going, hey, get in the boat. The village is flooding. The guy goes, no, God will save me. Someone else comes by, they go, get in the boat. He goes, God will save me. ... Well, anyways, the guy ends up dying from the flood. Water takes him away. He goes and he sees his maker or God, and he goes, hey, God, why didn't you save me? And God goes, I sent you 3 boats. And a lot of times with codependent people, it's the same way. They've been getting sent boats over and over and over and over, and they just keep going, no, I don't need it right now. I'll do it tomorrow. And at some point, they need the boats to stop coming, and they need to take a swim. Or they need to go, actually, I really want that boat. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if that resonates with you or not, Isadora. Totally agree. The problem is that you need to ignore your emotions, love, and to be rational and responsible one. Also, there's no shared responsibility. It's all on you. Interesting take, Isadora. That's true. Well, I mean, if you care and love about someone and you're leaving the relationship, but let's take it a step further. Is it fair to be with someone out of pity? Because in some cases, you're with people like that, you have pity and worry, but you're not really highly attracted at that point. You're not you're in a relationship where you're putting out fires, right? You're not in a relationship where you guys are building something together. You're in a relationship where you're keeping this person above water. And at some point, it's like they're going to pull you down with them. And they're comfortable with it, right? They're comfortable with it because that's all they know. And until they get to a point where they're left alone and they got to figure out sink or swim, they're never going to learn. And the longer you're in it, the harder it gets. Hope that helps you, right? Anyone else have a quick question here to keep this thing moving? Dude, nothing is ever all on you. Everyone's got some kind of a responsibility in a relationship. Absolutely. It helps. Thanks. I hope so, Isadora. That's what I'm here for. And thanks, Jessica, for piping in. But does that, like, when you put it to a story like I just told, and the interesting thing about that story that I just told, maybe you've heard it before in a different version, because it's not like I just, magically came up with that. But when that guy told me that story, I was like, okay, yeah, all right, thanks, Robert. He's like, at the time I was in my mid-20s, and he was like 60 or something. Wise guy, though, really wise. Years later, that came to me in my life, and I'm like, catch boats. And I come back to that sometimes, and I'm like, I'm going to catch a boat. And what I mean by that is, like, boats are always coming when you're in trouble. Does that make sense? It might not be money. It might not be exactly what you're looking for, but you have a chat like this on my channel, and Jessica, chimes in and gives you some advice. Maybe something I said resonates and helps you out. And they're all people communal. Like, it's a boat, and someone's going, instead of looking at a sinking ship, look at it like, where's my boat to move forward and move on, right? They're coming for you, right? Generalization. The older you get, the harder it gets. Exactly. That's a generalization that's not true. Actually, and that can be applied to many different things, right, Jessica? I think I've never been smarter in my life. I don't say that in a vain way or a two ships, got it. The older you get, the harder it gets. Like I said, at 38, I've never been smarter in my life. I've never been more wise, just based on life experience. So a lot of things are easier. The only thing that probably gets harder is physical things, but you can also blame that on inactivity for some people. And if you want to put your mind to anything, but that's a generalization. But here's the thing to unpack that, Jessica. When someone says that, they're supporting the idea that, oh, life's so hard, that's why I need to sit around. Well, good for you. She says, I'm in better shape at 34 than I've been in the last 12 years. Well, that's fucking outstanding. Because, for example, if someone's going to do a generalization at 34, right? They'd go, oh, at 34, it's a lot harder to work out because I remember I had so much more energy when I was 22. That's bullshit. Mac, do you want me to send you the email through your website or your email? At this point, both work because I know who you are, right? But if you're doing a paid one because you want to turn around, then you need to go through the website, right? Because you want a response within 48 hours, then you need to do it through the website. Do you want a private response or you want a live video response? That's the other thing you need to do, Nav. And Nav, I already have the story that you left in the comments. If that's the same story you want, I have that. However, thinking of finding a right guy at 34 sounds like a pain in the butt. Again, generalization, excuse. Now you're framing a story to make it more difficult than it is. The actuality is, how could we reframe that to serve you? How we're thinking of finding a right guy. First of all, what's the right guy? Write out all the characteristics that you want in the right guy. First of all, number one. So funny, outgoing, rich. I don't know. I'm not speaking for you. Maybe, whatever. If there's particular things that you're looking for, write them out. Okay, and don't hold anything back. Then the next thing is, why would 34 be a bad age to find a guy? 34 is a pretty good age. You're in a great age range to find a guy. It's not like you're 68 or something. And even if you were 68, there's other places. Now, once you write out, okay, follow me on this. Once you write out who the ideal guy would be, right? Think about the demographics. Think about the places that individual would hang out, or you might meet an individual with those qualities. And then put yourself in situations where you're going, like, for example, if you like drinking fine wine, go to wine festivals or wine clubs. If you enjoy yoga and you're looking for a guy that's really into being in shape, join a couple yoga classes or groups. If you're into fitness, go to places where you can be in a what do they call that? Zumba group classes where people exercise together. I don't know. I'm having a midlife crisis. Got 2 gray hairs last year. I got 2 or 3 gray hairs. My nose hair has never been fucking longer. That's one thing when you get older. I'm like, when did I start getting nose hairs now? I got a hanging nose hair. Where did this fucking come from? That's when you know you're getting a little bit older. But at the same time, 2 gray hairs is not a big deal compared to your whole head gray, right? And really, if you ever went gray, sometimes, there's a woman I know, she has all gray hair. Actually, people are dyeing their hair gray as a style now. And if you really wanted to, you could dye your hair. So I don't know. I wanted to add a few more things to the story. I'll resend it again through. If you're going to add things because your story was already long, then you probably need to pay the $25, or if you want to do the live coaching. So pick whatever you want, add whatever you want. I'm cool with that. And you had a lot on your plate. Nav. I'm going to help you out on this. I will help you out on that. I'm confident in that, bud. Jessica Marie, haha. Well, I don't think you can see it, but I have a couple of gray hairs. I got a receding hairline for the first time in my life. Shit. Just the last couple of years, I went, whoa, what's this, It happens. It happens, right? Humans aren't perfect beings. And then you make it work. We can't see your nose hair. Yeah, thank God. Well, I've trimmed it. I'm just saying that, I didn't even worry about it when I was in my 20s, and then all of a sudden you're like, what's this? But the thing is, whatever you want to focus on, if you, like I said, if you want to treat it like, oh, I'm 34, it's such a pain in the butt to meet the right guy, that's going to put you in a position where it is a pain in the butt. Your subconscious is going to take that over, and you're going to start going, oh, it's so difficult, so difficult. The thing is, you're not filtering for the right places and the right people and putting yourself in situations to meet that person. And I'll take it a step further. It takes time. It's not abracadabra. Find me a perfect partner, right? And stop saying the right guy. Maybe sometimes when you meet someone, they surprise you who they become after the first impression. I feel that for a healthy relationship, you need 2 confident people. I guess you really need to either love your grass or start dyeing it, metaphorically and literally. I said a right guy. Okay. Like I said, define a right guy. Because that's very vague in general. Define, get specific, know what you're looking for. A lot of times you end up with someone that you're not looking for. I feel that for a healthy relationship, you need 2 confident people. Sure. And here's the thing, with confidence, it can waver in a moment, right? And then that's when someone can lift you and be there and help you grow. But people need to feel good about themselves. And at the core of that is, what I would say for people in their late 20s or early 30s like yourself, and you're still in your early 30s, 20s, Jessica. You round off to 30. Is I would say that the career or what purpose of work you're doing is very important towards your confidence, because at that stage of your life, you're probably in a long-term job. And if you're not, that's okay, but it's time to start thinking, what do I really want to do? I mean, you're in your early 30s. You could go back to school and reshape or reform who you are, but that's a very important ingredient to being confident. Okay, so she's asking your advice. I won't get into that because we'll be getting into that in the live coaching. But someone that hates themselves, and I've heard about this in other relationships, just as an idea, is usually, okay. But just chiming in, I know you are. But whenever someone uses that statement, because I've heard some people saying that before, it's kind of a red flag to go, that's how they feel about themselves. And I don't know that you can change that. They can change that. And the reason that they're feeling that way is because of their actions in their own life. They're not fulfilling who they want to be or where they want to go. So that tends to continue on. Grab my little drink here. Yeah, it'll be good, huh? It'll be good. The live coaching sessions are always, this sounds bad, I don't want to say fun, but they are. Usually have a really good connection, and most of the people, most all have already watched quite a few videos, so you kind of get to know who I am and what I'm about, and really unpack things. A lot of people say afterwards it feels like it's someone that they've known for a long time. It's the repeated thing. Oh, we got 9 on deck after 47 minutes here. Who's on deck? Thanks, Jessica, for contributing so much to this live stream. So, being that we have some new people to this, and the topic was generalizations and how we use them in breakups and relationships. I really do find that people cling to these generalizations. They cling to the problem that happened in their relationship, and they tend to do it. Thank you. I sent you a paid email. If you can check it when you're free, that'd be great. I will, and I will confirm it. Okay. I will confirm it for you, but I'll get that done for you as soon as possible. Thanks, Nav34D. What's with the name Nav34D? Right? I'm just curious. Nav34D, is that like a flight number or something? It's always interesting seeing people's tag names sometimes. I call them tag. It's like a graffiti name or something, and then some people just go with their name, right? I can understand why people wouldn't want their real name. It's kind of funny doing this live stream, and I have some people come on that I've done live coachings with, or private email responses, and then I'm like, do you want me to talk to you about what we've talked about before, or keep it down low, right? It's a name made when I was around 13 or 14. I'm now 26. Okay, thanks for clarifying that you're 26 now. Wow, that's a long-term name. Doesn't really Nav34D. Well, I mean, what is it though? Is it a flight number or something? That would be my question. Generalization. Women are more jealous or more often jealous. Is it true, or is it just different types of jealousy? Great fucking question, Jessica Marie H. Now we're cooking with some grease. Anyone else want to chime on this for Jessica? Women are more jealous or more often jealous. Is it true, or is it just different types of jealousy? This is really ironic because I was thinking about this today. I went for a walk on the beach, and this popped into my head, this actual thought. And what I would say is I think women are more openly jealous. They'll make an issue out of it, where men will be jealous, but they won't erupt. They'll hold it in. They'll not make an issue because they don't want to show weakness. That's my opinion. Again, everyone's different. So, I've been in relationships where women have said, you're not jealous enough, because past relationships that they were in, they were with jealous guys. So to them, that's how men showed that they cared. Excuse me. Men show that they cared by basically being jealous and asking where they were going. So both sides of the fence, though, get jealous. Absolutely. I've made a video, and I've talked about this before, that I don't consider myself a jealous person, but I've absolutely been jealous in relationships. And I've been out a lot, especially early on when I was in my 20s. I haven't had good grounds for it. But it happens, right? I mean, and that's the thing when someone was talking about emotionally cheating earlier. I mean, have you ever had your partner, let's just say partner, because I always use girl because I'm a girlfriend guy, right? So have you ever had where you had a partner and they had a coworker that they keep talking about? They're like, what the fuck? I don't want to hear about this guy anymore. I don't want to hear about this person anymore. And then it gets to a point where you're like, okay, I think you're interested in them now. Okay, you guys went to lunch now? Okay, well, oh yeah, John's so funny. Oh my God, John did this. And it's like, I took you to lunch? What? I mean, at some point you're thinking, what's going on, right? Or, you have someone that's really outgoing. I had a girlfriend before that was really outgoing, bubbly personality, talked to everyone. Everywhere you went, she was like, she knew someone, or that's my friend. And it would usually be a guy. And sometimes you'd be like, who's this guy, So it does happen. I just don't think that guys show it as much. In my case, I wouldn't be like, who the hell? Like, I would hold it in more often, right? Where I think women more likely would show it up front. That being said, there's individuals that are just more jealous overall, and that's part of their character. I find that women are often jealous due to insecurity. It's down to the man to make her feel secure. I don't know if you can make a woman in a relationship feel secure. You certainly can meet her halfway, but if she already has insecurities, whether that's looks, whether that's weight, whether that's, a lot of insecurity in a relationship is sometimes someone thinks they're better than them, whether that, for example, financially, right? This comes up a lot. And I was just talking to someone that I have a lot of respect for, and he was saying that he had an early relationship where the woman made more money than him, and it really bugged him, but it drove him to make more money. Like, he was always trying to prove himself, even after they broke up. So the insecurity in a relationship could be based on someone thinking the other person's better than them. The classic, the guy that you think is kind of average and he's with a really hot woman, or a girl that seems, or a woman that seems average looking with a really good looking guy. And you think people are like, what's up with that, right? The truth is something in their connection is deeper than just attraction, and they're deeper than just the eye can see from outside, right? I find that women are often jealous due to insecurity. Okay, wow, that's a great way to see it. We also talk more about what we feel, so it's just more visible, right? I mean, I think so. Again, there's exceptions to the rules. There's women that probably, due to who they are personality-wise, don't get as jealous. But overall, I think they're more open about it. I think that they'll call some guy out more often. It can also be a cultural thing. Absolutely, Isadora. What's expected of men and women in certain cultures. That's absolutely true. And that's a great point. And that's something that's resonated in doing this breakup coaching. The amount of people I meet from India or the Middle East, the culture is different. It's not wrong, it's not right, but the culture is different and the expectations are different, and it creates a different dynamic in the relationship. And that's the thing about cultures. You can't say something's right or wrong because people are grown into that culture. So that's absolutely true. And there's subcultures too, right? There's subcultures within a culture. So it gets even deeper than that. I mean, that's a really good thing to bring up, Isidore. I agree with that. Which can lead to generalizations about certain cultures. How would you deal with attachment trauma? Define attachment trauma to you. First question. What does it mean to you? It's a broad statement. So if you're going to say, how would you deal with it? Tell me what attachment trauma is to you. Then I would ask, how do you feel that you have attachment trauma? How has this become a problem? There would be a series of questions I would go through with you to come down to that. And I'm probably not going to go through those questions on the live stream. But once you got to the end of the questions that I would ask you, you'd probably be able to answer it for yourself. And a lot of times your attachment trauma, if you want to label it that, you could just say trauma that happened to you that you were young. If you want to say an attachment trauma in particular, you, excuse me, I'm going on an hour here. You need to be specific on what happened in that moment, what story you're telling yourself about that event, and then are you framing it in a way that's going to help you moving forward, right? And are you keeping that in place for a reason? It really helps, when you use these labels like attachment trauma or these different things, the actual event and the actual story is what needs to be dissected or unpacked. Unpacked is what I usually use. Any other questions out there? Got 8 people here on deck. It's okay. It's obviously not the time frame that more people come on. But that's been all right. It's been helpful, useful for the people out there. If you couldn't let go of someone, you found it hard, and someone new came and the same situation occurred, you couldn't let go of them. How would you go about that? Is that a sign of deeper issues? Again, the way I would treat this, and you could talk to other people about this, I would want to know this individual stories of, so let me see. So you said if you couldn't let go of someone, you found it hard, and someone new came and the same situation occurred. So I'd ask about the first situation, tell me the story. I'd ask about the second situation, tell me the story. And then I'd say, when was the first time you felt this way? So maybe you say, oh, when I was 11 years old and my mom left me at home alone for 2 days. I don't know. Then that might be the root of the problem that you're coming back to subconsciously. And then we need to unpack that also. And then you couldn't let go of them. How would you go about that? That's how I just said. I'd have to unpack each story and then ask where that first came from. This is a sign of deeper issues. Yes, usually. There's usually a deeper root than just this one time. If you're 26 years old and this is surfacing again and again, there's probably something when you were 0 to 7 years old. I've heard a lot of the guys usually won't commit until they have the rest of their stuff figured out. Is that true? I think that's true for both sexes. I think that people in their early 20s definitely aren't able to commit even when they try, because they're still finding who they are. Sometimes you think you know who you are and what you want, and you can change in a year. And I think that's never been more the case than in the 21st century, because there's so much information that we get that we can reinvent ourselves really easily. And we can go into new jobs and fields really easily. So figuring it out can change, right? Where your grandfather, your mother, your grandmother, your great-grandfather, they took a job, they had it for 40 years, they got married at 20, they went to church every weekend, they had some routines to life that were very simple and safe and familiar, and life right now is not like that. life has all these different things coming, and you can consider it a good thing or a bad thing. But the bottom line is the amount of information coming in and out. Someone can go, I'll talk to people and I'll be like, all right, so tell me something you want to do, because they're thinking about changing jobs, and someone will say, oh, I want to be a cop, I want to be this, I want to be that. It's like, well, if you had to pick one, which one would you want to be? And sometimes someone's picking something really, really grandeur, really big, and that's fine, but you need to focus on that one thing. So when people say a guy won't commit until they figure their stuff out, I mean, every individual is different as far as what they're going to figure out. Here's how I should reframe that. Just because in the moment that you met them, they seem to have everything figured out, doesn't mean in 2 or 3 years or 4 years that they don't change who they are and what they're doing. Because the minute someone changes a job or moves to a new city, they're completely capable of all of a sudden being like, who's this individual? Now they got new friends, a new salary, new way of life. So I think the idea that people won't commit till they have their stuff figured out, yeah, that for the most part will be true, but it still doesn't guarantee that they'll have everything figured out in 2 or 3 years, because life goes through these pockets of changes. Where you want to be is you want to be in a place where where you're not fighting to commit to someone. You want to commit to them. It's ideal for you. It's exciting to you. It's not one of those things where you're going, oh, should I not? Yeah, I really, it shouldn't be questionable. It should be, I'm in, right? Thanks, Jessica. It's true though, right? It's true. And I don't think that's anyone's fault. I talked about that in a video a long time ago, that there's going to be a lot more breakups in the future because people are pulled by all these things from, they're pulled by social media, the internet, billboards, TV, and you go, oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to change that about my life. And you can, right? And people aren't so attached to living a routine life. They're willing to change what they're doing when they want to change it. So I'm just getting a phone call here. Put that off. I'm going to give this 10 more minutes. Do you think modern age of social media has diluted the concept of relationships? Good question. Short answer, yes. But getting deeper into it, it's not going away. So you still have choices to make as an individual how you use social media. I know that an interesting thing, I went back home to California and saw some friends and saw different people, and it's really interesting when you haven't seen someone since high school or your early 20s and you knew them in a certain way and you thought, oh, this person's going to be really successful, or this person's not going to be successful, or this or that, and you come across them and they're like doing really well. They got a good job. They got their shit together, if you will, in the moment. And a couple of the people that really surprised me, and I shouldn't say surprised me, but I was like, wow, you got everything together. And I'm like, oh, you got something came up about Facebook, and they're like, I don't use Facebook. I don't got time for it. And I was like, wow, these were two really successful people that were doing really good, had good careers, had their everything lined up. We're going to the gym regularly. We're going into higher education. I mean, they're just like, no, I don't do it anymore. And this was like 3 or 4 years ago. So I think that you do. You're welcome, Isadora. Thanks for signing out, man. Throw a like if you like. I think that with the going back to that diluted concept of relationships, there's just so much coming at people, and with social media, especially for the younger generation, it's constant competitive happiness. So the content, being in a really good relationship long term takes being content, not necessarily being happy. Does that make sense? You know, grandma and grandpa didn't look happy all the time when they were in their relationship for 4 years. They looked content. They were okay with being upset with each other for a day or two. When I think now, people get in an argument or something and everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to be right. Everyone wants to prove something. No one's taking the lower ground, or no one's meeting halfway, or no one's just going, that was a fight, let me just let it go. Yeah, that's true. I felt relationships were far more deeper and lasting in the 20th century compared to now. Absolutely. I've done a video on this. Like I said, look at your grandma and grandpa, your great grandmother and grandpa, if you have one, or older people. A lot of times they have the same TV, the same car, the same shag carpet, the same furniture for 25, 30 years. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And these particular people and the way they were raised in that generation were okay with what they had. They were much more content. You got a new age right now where you're constantly, the movies, the music, everything's about more, okay? And you have to deal with that. And you have to find a way to have your values met. But there are other people that, if you're at a point where you're like, oh, this is what I want, you got to get back down to like, what do I want, right? So if you say like social media is if you're saying social media is diluting it, what's your role in social media or your partners? And the fact that you can erase social media, and there's people out there that don't use it. I've had multiple people go, actually, I just don't use it. Usually they're older, but I think I'm going to go about 10 more minutes on this one. Anyone else have some closing questions here? Nav34 Deep, thank you kindly for being involved. Isadora, too. Jessica, we will talk soon tomorrow. I haven't heard from BG or anyone else. Tyler Rose is on deck as always. I might come back at 8:30, 9 p.m., 3 or 4 hours away, and see if there is a different group that I can talk to, maybe go on to the same topic, because I think it's an important one. Anyone else have anything in closing? No? Give it a few more minutes. What time is there? What time is it there? See you, BG. 5:40 p.m. 5:40 p.m. Thanks, BG. You're devout, my friend. Singapore's finest. Happy Saturday, everyone. Charlie. Thanks. I don't know if you just entered, Charlie, but thank you. Any closing questions? I was going to sign off soon. 5:30. Do people pity single people? Do people pity single people? Hell no. I think there's some people that are jealous. I think there's some people that are highly jealous of single people when they're in long-term relationships. So, no, I don't think so. Not at all. I mean, if someone's pitying someone for being, I got a good memory, BG. People always are like, how'd you remember that? Right? Like, if you have a live coaching with me and I talk to you 6-7 months later, I'll remember a lot of details about who you are. A big part of the live coaching is that I intensely listen to what you're saying. And when we're talking about these age things right now in relationships, people don't listen very well. I feel like everyone around me is in a relationship and they're always telling me to get on Tinder and stuff. Generalization! The people around you think that, but not everyone thinks that. I don't pity single people. I mean, I got a friend. He's been single, since I've known him, 8 or 9 years. He's got a great single life. He knows who he is. He dates quite a bit. He's a good guy. He's honest. And he's had one girlfriend, I think, for a year and a half. And I have no pity for him at all. I don't, no way. No way. I think that what happens, Jessica, is that the individuals around you, if they're in a relationship, they want you in a relationship because it makes them more comfortable. So they want you to be going through the things they're going through. And some of them deep down inside, the ones that don't have a really good relationship, want you in the trenches with them too. They want to be bitching about their husband or their boyfriend with you. And you can take that or leave it. If you don't want to be on Tinder and stuff, don't be on Tinder and stuff. You know what I mean? It's up to you. Thanks, Mac. This was great interaction. I look forward to your reply. No problem, Nav34D. We're going to close this out. Throw some likes up. I hate asking for that. People always, oh, you got to ask for your likes. Cheers, Mac. See you tomorrow. Might be, like I said, if the spirit moves me, I might be back on in 3 hours. So I'm up to it. All right, I'm going to sign out on this one. Thank you kindly for joining. Thanks for the thumbs up right there, too. Cheers.